Every news brings a new insight, new dimension, new info. And that's what we do here on SSM Between the Lines. Between the Lines, you're welcome to Between the Lines viewers. My name is Matt Godwin Iweajua, and you're on with us Monday, today, the 13th of May, 2024. As usual, we have these great coordinators, friends, brothers from different parts of the world. Joining me this evening here is Ogbeni Olayinka Raji. Ogbeni Olayinka Raji.
Good evening, Mark. Nice
Good
to be here
evening.
again. Good evening, global viewers.
Global
Welcome
viewers.
to our program. Yes.
Thank you very much, Ogbeni Raji. For now, I think we're the first two early birds.
All
First
right.
two early birds. So we'll pick all the worms. We'll pick all the
All
worms.
right.
You're welcome.
Mm,
You're welcome, Raji. Like we say,
yeah.
this is our program where we keep people updated. You know, there's something about news, Raji. Let's talk about this. There's so much
Yes.
going on in every point in time. News fly
Mm,
like in seconds. You know, there's an
every day. Yes.
occurrence in one part of the world. There's an occurrence in the other side. There's this. You know, it's always on somewhere, sometime. But what we
Mm,
do is bring that resourceful ability to connect those news together and make sense out of it. Is that not so,
yeah.
Raji?
Yes. Fantastic. That's what we do.
That's what we do, and you're
Yeah.
good at doing it. We're good at doing it.
Thanks.
So you're welcome, Raji. I mean, all of the news, even here in outside Nigeria, is Prince Harry, Meghan, the wife, Prince Harry, Meghan, tour in Nigeria, Prince Harry, Meghan, tour in Lagos. You know, now what we saw is this couple were treated like rock stars in Nigeria.
Mm,
You know,
mm,
so yeah, let's see some shots and we talk about
yeah.
it. Let's see some shots.
In-laws. I'll skip the protocol because at this point we're all family. I will also try to keep this short. Firstly, thank you. Thank you for welcoming my wife and myself to Nigeria. It's our first visit, it certainly won't be our last. Thank you for the naming ceremony. I don't know how I got dragged into that as well, but to be able to witness it next to my wife, it means a huge amount to both of us, but especially her, so thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Those were
Yes.
words he gave after some of the events. Okay, it was a 3-day visit of Prince Harry and Meghan, the wife.
Mm,
They visited so many places, and yeah, let's bring in our man, Dr. Godwin eBay. You're welcome to Between the Lines Monday.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in too.
Nice. So you didn't come late. Even though we came late to catch the early warm, you know. So, but there are still more warms for you. Anyway,
Yeah.
we're talking about Prince Harry and the wife visiting Nigeria, and
mm,
we're looking at all those events. We had a shot, some clips to some of the events. They visited a lot of places. They rounded it up with visiting Lagos, and went through a lot of programs, events. Harry, bringing in, playing basketball. Before we go into more discussion, let's bring in our diva, Fiona Akanu. You're welcome to Between the Lines.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. Welcome to all the viewers.
Welcome, Fiona.
Thank you so much, Dr. Godwin. Thank
Good
you.
evening, Lady Fee.
Good evening, Sarah G.
Yes.
Welcome. Okay. So, yes, Fiona, you didn't also come late. You came right on time. It's Meghan, Prince Harry and wife, Nigerian tour. We know you're not. Anyway, it was a beautiful tour.
I share her emotions.
Yes, they were treated like rock stars in Nigeria. You know, they visited a lot of places. They played the game. Now, the idea is he's bringing his. He has that initiative, that Inventus game. I think that's Prince Harry's
Invictus game.
Invictus game, and he's bringing that to Nigeria. Yes, guys, let's hear from you all. So, what is it, Raji? Did you experience any of the visits?
What for? I was home enjoying myself. I didn't even give them a minute of my time.
You didn't give that, but I mean, coming to launch that game in Nigeria is not a bad idea. I mean, it's a game that involves the handicap, you know, servicemen and women that are probably handicapped one way or the other, and get them to feel life too, you know, get involved. Yes, Fiona, what's your take on that? Let's hear you. We know what you normally say, but I mean, this one is not a bad idea.
So, yeah. So, I mean, it's lovely. You know, the Invictus games are fantastic. You know, the idea behind it. I mean, this started 2014. He's also an ex-military personnel, and he's quite conscious of the fact that people that are differently abled probably don't have the same access to taking part in sports and games, etc., etc. So it's very nice for him to highlight that, you know, wherever he had gone in the world. I mean, that he went to Nigeria to do it, for me is really neither here nor there. We got so many problems, so many issues. I don't really, you know, it's whatever. So for me, it's like, okay, it's nice. As you said, they were treated like rock stars. They were more like celebrities, really. It wasn't like a head of state visit. The royal family here and the government were quick to say, listen, it's nothing to do with us. This is their private arrangement. So really, that's their private arrangement. That's their private business. They were treated like celebrities. And yeah, I have, you know, that it's nice, but it's a nice, we don't need it. It's just a nice to have, but it's you know, it's whatever.
But with the lady telling us she's 43%, is it 43% or 47%?
Yeah, but yeah, that and so but
don't
we
get
all
me
know
started.
We all know that
yeah,
exactly, it's a big and so what, because at the end of the day, how many Black or African descent Americans have Nigerian heritage? There are thousands and thousands of them. This is no news.
Millions.
So I don't think that, you know, we need to be excited about that. That's not going to make her pro-Nigerian. That's not going to make it. So for me, I just think, and it's a big, for me personally, it's an and so what, really. I have lots of Black American friends who are geeky, have, you know, they've got Nigerian descent and all that, and there's no belly aching about it. We just, you know, we all enjoy jollof rice together, and we just keep it moving. So I don't really know. I don't know what.
So you three are just downplaying this whole beautiful event. Godwin, she said she told Nigeria.
No. She's not downplaying. She's preventing overestimation. Look, okay, let me. I'll speak when it's my turn. Can I speak?
No, go ahead.
Okay, I commend Harry and Meghan for the Invictus game, actually, in terms of the fact that the idea is something for our military personnel who are wounded, military personnel around the world who are wounded. And I appreciate that. I really like when people go out of their way to look at the maybe less privileged in society. It's humanitarian in aspect. But because it's coming from Harry, and Meghan Markle, which we already know their history and in terms of attention seeking at all costs, from Hollywood to all sort of drama. For those who are aware of the situation, it seems like more the humanitarian aspect of it can be questioned in terms of knowing their history. Secondly, the amount of money it's a game and there's like some prize money, but so if you don't win, you basically don't get it. Well, but the togetherness, the spirit of even taking part is maybe something positive, but it's not a replacement for social welfare package for people who are wounded in war. This should be done by the government. The government has to take care of wounded soldiers in battle up to the end, and compensate them in an open way that is that people can look at them and say, yes, this is wonderful. You stay the amount, not that you put them, it's not enough to just treat them. You have to give them compensation for their family, because those are breadwinners who their bread has been taken away because they were patriotic defending the country. So you have to replace that bread for the family which has been destroyed in battle for the sake of the country.
But so if the government is not doing that, and
is it I'm saying that. I started with the idea is good, but it masks something. Nigeria is the first African country to be part of the Invictus Games. The question is, why are others not joining?
Because also you have large number of soldiers, veteran, service people.
Large number. Wait, you understand? Large number does not mean the prize money increases based on the large number. You see, it's still the same pool. Whether you're large or you're little, if you win, you win. If you lose, you go back home. You understand what I mean, right?
But it's also more than the winning thing.
I'm speaking about
it's a novelty where these soldiers are really made to feel at home.
I said that. I basically said that the togetherness, the playing is a good aspect, but there are more things that are more important than that. I'm talking about the welfare of the soldiers, and it shouldn't be as a decoy to mask that. And then
trust the foundation.
I think we are taking too much time on this thing.
Okay. Let me just round up one more thing concerning the DNA case. For God's sake, we are 98% similar to monkeys by DNA. So should we now identify with the jungle? So I really think that
I don't think that's the concept.
Okay, but anyway.
It was a beautiful outing. 3 days, beautiful outing for them.
Yes.
If I should use the word, very humble to be in Nigeria, in motherland, and they are back to their base. Let's go, guys. Somehow you three don't seem to see it with me, but it's okay. Diverse views and opinion is okay. Let's come to more of.
You don't like colonialism, that's the problem.
Yeah. More issues, burning issues. Rivers crisis, Rivers State, Nigeria, that part of Nigeria that is very integral part of Nigeria. I mean, a major part of our income comes from that state. But somehow things doesn't look too good. Can somebody make a sense of what's happening? Raji, give us a breakdown. Run it through with some, few minutes. Let's have that overview.
Yes. First and foremost, I want to quote Wike himself that if a person stands election on the platform of Party A and gets voted in, and having been voted in, he now decides to go to Party B, that person should automatically lose his seat, which is what is now applicable to the 27 PDP House of Assembly members who got into the House of Assembly by as PDP members, and then now got in there and now decided to go to APC. By that moment, they have lost their seat. there are only now only three members who are still with their original seats and are all PDP. And therefore, until another election is held to replace those people who left the party, who left their seats.
Raji, we can't hear you. Okay.
I can hear you.
You can't?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as I was saying, the 23 or so PDP members who moved over to APC after winning the election have thereby vacated their seats. So at the moment, there are only 4 or 5 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly who are genuinely elected, and until the seats of those who left are filled, those 4 or 5 members will continue to run the affairs of the Rivers State.
4 or 5 members will continue to run the affairs of Rivers State. Okay.
Yes, because the other 23 elected to move to lose their seats. It's as simple as that.
Fiona, I know you're watching from the UK. You're watching what's happening in Rivers.
Am I?
I know what you do.
Am I watching?
You're following up. You're observing everything there. Now, somehow, doesn't this whole thing look like child's play? I mean, Wike is no more. He's out there in the federal supposed to be the minister. I mean, that's a big position he has there too. But him meddling, coming back and forth into the Rivers State government issues, I see it now as little kids, very immature, very. What do you think, Fiona?
So this is what happens when the old brigade doesn't step aside for the new brigade to take charge. That this is what's playing. This is my own layman's view of what's going on. So the old brigade is supposed to have stepped aside. The new brigade is supposed to have come, done things in their own way, but the old brigade is still trying to manipulate and control what happens on the ground. This is not the only state this happens. It just happens that there's a friction of minds. It happens in other states I won't mention, where the outgoing governor kind of presents his own candidate and fights tooth and nail to ensure that their own candidate is elected so that they can continue their free passage around the state. So that this is happening, it's unfortunate, but it's only happening because there's a difference of opinion between the two men. If the two men were in synergy and in agreement, all this thing that's going on won't be happening. So to me, it's just a function of two grown people that are not in agreement over something. Either they had an agreement before and it fell apart, or whatever it was that happened. But that's how I see it as a layperson, because I can't imagine. And for me, really, in all this, what I'm thinking about is what is happening to governance in Rivers State as we speak. While all this drama and kindergarten thing is playing out, what is actually happening to the actual governance of Rivers State? What's happening to the people of Rivers State? What's happening to everything when everybody is, up in arms? There's quarrel, there's fight, there's no peace. Today there's explosion, today there's fire, today they're moving offices. It must be absolute chaos in there. And in that chaos, there will be some people that are going to be making serious money while all this chaos is going on. I'm sure of it. So, for me, I just think it's unfortunate. And at the end of the day, the people that are going to suffer the most is going to be the people of Rivers State. It's not Fubara. It's not Wike, definitely, And it's just, and I think Bola Ahmed Tinubu actually waded in on this. And, well, I read somewhere something about he said something to Wike. And I think that part of Wike's issue is the sheer hubris of his behavior. I think this is actually bordering on some kind of Ozymandias kind of arrogance, really. That, well, I'm not there, but I'm still going to dictate what happens there. I think, to all intents and purposes, he pretty much feels like he doesn't just rule his state, but he pretty much, has a firm grip on a lot of ththings that happen in Nigeria. That's how I perceive it. That's my
listen. Your perception is you perceived right. I mean that's Olayinka will agree with some of the things he said. But before we go on, let's bring in our man George Chuku from Toronto, Canada. You're welcome. And he's one person that's always emphasized on these stooge and leaders using somebody. George, how do you put those words? How governors bring in somebody and that person becomes a stooge for them, continues that their power. George, can you hear us?
Play.
Yes, I can hear you quietly. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Go ahead,
Yeah,
George.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to acknowledge all of you here and viewers from around the world. We are coming down from Square One in Toronto. This is a big mall here. So I'm here doing a project. So I decided to join you all. Yeah, I heard what you guys are saying. What we need to actually mandate to the president is that he is supposed to put his mad dog in check. The President Ahmed Bola Tinubu, if you are not careful, this your FCT man will put you in trouble. You have already violated the Constitution by allowing the 27 people that just stepped out of their own party to another party to continue. That is a violation of the Constitution. Therefore, you must be very careful what you are openly supporting. Put your mad dog in check. Have him to man FCT and leave River State alone. These people have suffered enough. I don't know why you're allowing this to happen. And some of the people that are supporting you are allowing it to happen. They better give you a good advice to choose wisely. Tell that man to step down and man FCT and leave River State alone. Allow Governor Pubaru to govern the state. This is absolutely absurd. What kind of nonsense is this? What kind of country are we running? The man is just, shaming you and you're just ignoring him. And you appointed him to be the head of the FCT. They need to step down. He needs to stop this nonsense.
So can I put in just one word?
Okay, go ahead.
I think we have to be very, very careful in according the president superior powers beyond his capacity, beyond the constitutional provisions. While Tinubu may intervene, he has to be very careful. You have to be because you are running a federal government. I agree with Sir George that there's a mad dog raving around, rapidly biting anybody. He knows what he did. He knows what he did to Amechi. He knows what he did to Amechi. And he had said himself that he was not going to interfere in the affairs of the River State when he leaves as a governor. So why is he still bothered? And then as for those 27 or so members who elected to join another party, their seat remain empty. And that is a constitutional point that we all have to follow.
Thank you very much. Godwin, I see you're bringing a video clip to add to what we're saying. Okay, George wants to add to something.
Yeah, I just wanted to say something. The 27 members that vacated their seats.
Yes.
They need to stay where they are because they have already vacated those seats until there is, the courthouse determines whether they should go or not. But based on the old case that they had that was similar to this, it was already determined by the highest court in Nigeria that once you vacate the party under which you were elected, you vacate that seat. And there is no explanation in and out of that. And they must obey the law. What we are seeing in River State right now is a test. And a test, number one, the president ought to surround himself with legal minds. So before he gives any advice, they must check in and out of the legal system and the constitution to make sure that whatever advice as a mediator he is given will not violate the constitution. This is exactly what just took place. And it is not allowed. When he makes it up from the head, what do you expect the lower end to do? So he must surround himself with legal minds.
Yeah, George, also some legal minds like Femi Falana is saying that some of the governor's decisions too are going out of boundary. For example, he told the legislators where they should meet. He's the one taking them to where they should meet. And lawyers are saying that is also unconstitutional. Godwin, yes, Godwin, are you following the Rivers case? Are you on that?
Yes, not so closely, but I understand the power struggle and the crisis going on. I think my colleagues have said all that there is to say. I have
Okay.
nothing more to add.
Thank you very much. That's a good one. So anyway, viewers, you're listening to Between the Lines Monday, and we're all strictly looking at the Rivers State situation where you have more like Hila Baloo, like our man was trying to say, governance in Hila Baloo. I mean, back and forth, this, that, wake up, Fiona just pretty well too. And some of those things, we don't even know who's behind them. Those explosions, this one happened, maybe still part of their the sinister motive from some of the ends. All right, guys, thank you. Thank you, George. George, you did this so well. Let's move on. Godwin, you have something you want to show us. Let's see what that hit story is. Go ahead, Godwin.
It's about the Belgorod crisis. There was missile attack reportedly, allegedly by NATO weapons, but I think the little can doubt that right now. It's NATO weapons being fired by the Ukrainian side on Russian city of Belgorod, on an apartment house that has led to the death of 19 people. You can see the guy being pulled out from the rubble. It's a very sad day for a lot of Russians, especially their family members, and we mourn with them and hope that this will be put into a stop will be put into this, and those people who are responsible will be brought to the books, will be brought to justice, because it's and it's one of the reasons why President Putin has authorized the buffer zone operation in the Kharkov region, which is currently underway. As I understand, up to 12 villages have already been liberated. But it's obvious that Russia will not allow this to continue, and based on the range of the missiles, especially the artillery from Ukrainian region. So there's a buffer zone operation going on right now.
Let me help the viewers too. Thank you, Godwin. Viewers, what you're seeing is a strike that was done, an explosion in a community called Belgorod, and these are images coming out from there. The Belgorod region has been, like we heard, targeted by Ukrainian forces since this invasion from 2022. But this time it was a very strong one. 19 people have been injured, and the blast took down a 10-story building block. Yes, so that's what you're saying. So, Reggie, when we see things like this, what does it tell you? Will this war end? I mean, it keeps, today, Bulgaria, tomorrow, another region. I mean, what is happening?
You see, there's normally some terms of engagement when you are in the war. That as much as possible, civilian population should not be attacked. Essential services should not be disrupted, like a nuclear electricity supply and all that should not be disrupted as much as possible. When civilian locations are being bombed like this, then it shows the desperation on the side of the losing of Ukraine, that they are now becoming irrational and are just throwing punches anyway. In which case they stand to be punished more, because you are fighting with a superior power. You are fighting with a superior power.
Yeah. George, when you saw this on Friday, how was it? When you saw this happen, what came to your mind? Will this work?
The first question that I asked in my mind was, what Ukraine just did, had Russia ever did it to Ukraine before? Have they ever gone to certain places that are not allowed, like apartments, condominiums, or houses, and kill civilians? Have they done it before? That's the first question that came to me. if Russia have violated such in the past, and and then this is happening to them now, should it not be like a retaliation? So these are the questions we need to ask. It's not centering in just particular this one here. So what I'm saying is, for Raji now to come and say that the losing party is getting desperate. When Russia did it to Ukraine, were they losing?
When? Can you tell us?
There has been accounts, several accounts.
Before you tell us,
several accounts.
When was it?
Before you tell us, we have another diva here, our coordinator from Turkey, Yema Benson. You're welcome to Between the Lines.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and good evening.
Yes.
Good evening,
Yema. Welcome.
We hope no strike came on Turkey this time. No.
Oh,
So what's the update? Let's hear anything from Turkey. What's the story coming out from there?
Currently, I think I've not really heard any story yet, aside that Turkey is supporting, I think, Iraq, and against Israel. That's the only thing, and they're fighting for their, I think, Muslim brothers. There is nothing much I've heard for now, and the cutting business deal with Israel and that. There's nothing much. I think I heard the last time that they arrested a lot of people who came into the country as spy, and that's just for it now.
Somebody's background needs to be muted. Okay. Yes. You guys were bringing up some strong talk there.
George.
Okay. Yeah, George was bringing up something, but let's not dive too much on that. Godwin has done a pretty good update, and it's all good. Let's look more from that end also. Godwin, thousands of Georgians went to protest against a Russian bill. And they said the protesters are angry at government's effort to pass a bill against what they call foreign agents, which mirrors repressive arraignment against the people. Tell us, what's that story? Why that protest on Sunday? Georgians protesting.
First of am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
First of all, it's a very nonsensical characterization of the bill. It has nothing to do with Russia. The fact that Russia has a foreign agent bill is not unique to Russia. The US has similar bill. India has, Brazil has, China has. It is the work of a inherent duty and responsibility of a country to save and safeguard its sovereignty. And based on that, there's no way that intelligence agencies, their prime target is not to decipher and to find out foreign influence. And sometimes, as we see in most cases for the big powers, this is enshrined in the law and in presidential decrees that when you are funded by foreign government, foreign organizations to a significant amount, you ought to declare it. You ought to register as a foreign agent or as a lobbyist of a foreign government. So it has absolutely nothing to do with Russia. It makes some news journalists or news publication trend, and so they use the Russia word.
It's Russia not really for them to trend. We saw the protests. I saw a huge number.
No. I mean the use of the word Russia. The protest is clear. It's clear that some of them do not like it, but the protest obviously will still be people who are sponsored by the same foreign agents who will be protesting it because it's their source of income.
Okay, let's come to Dr. Sir George. There's a major man in the Vladimir Putin's ministry, and that's the Russian Defense Ministry, Shoigu. Now, he's been removed.
Sergei Shoigu.
Sergei Shoigu. He's been removed. George, what does it tell you? I want you to say first, then the guys will come in. I know they have so much to say on that. So the 68-year-old man has been removed.
Well, I mean, I don't think that is really anything that anybody can say about that in regards to something negative or positive. You know, Putin makes a decision based on strategic ends and diplomatic ends. And the man has been the right hand man for the longest. And if I was in Putin's position and I'm looking at any of my former right hand or left hand person who is not in line or maybe is surrounded by any kind of allegation or something, I will definitely find a diplomatic or a civil way of removing that person from around me and put him in an arm's length. So what I'm seeing here is actually the man makes a decision. So we don't know what is really in his mind when he made this decision, but I'm quite sure the decision that he's making will be for his own best interest and interest of the nation. So that's all I can say about that until otherwise comes up. I don't think anybody can really pontificate this or give it any spin. You can go left or go right on the decision why he did that. So we really don't know unless it comes out of his mouth.
So anybody want to say anything before we go?
I think the person that's been appointed now is the previous. I don't know. Dr. Gordon can probably help me. Previous Minister of the
Deputy Prime Minister. Yes.
Yeah. So I think in my thinking that there may be a move to kind of align economic activity to support more robustly the war efforts. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm saying that could be a reason why, you know.
You are fantastically right. I wanted to touch on that. First of all, there's Sergei Shoigu, our dear Minister of Defense, has been serving for a while and he's been really good at his job and successful at his job. And he has been not fired, as people say. He's been reshuffled. There's a government reshuffle. He's now going to be, as rumors have it, but to be confirmed, he's going to be the Secretary of the National Defense Council. That's a very powerful post.
That's a very powerful.
So he's not leaving anywhere. Also, the person who is coming to replace him was, like Fiona rightly said, the first Deputy Prime Minister Belgorod, and he has been responsible not just for as the Deputy Prime Minister for import substitution, adaptation of the economy to localization, and adaptation of sanctions. In fact, in Ukrainian publications, they released several articles regretting the new position in advance, saying that this person will bring much more success to the ministry. So I think it's a strategic, probably a strategic shift towards more alignment of the economy and to import substitution and domestic self-sufficiency.
Wonderful. Thank you, guys. Listen, let's do this small break. We'll come back. We have more gist coming from Nigeria and some other parts of the world. So let's go on the break, fellas. We'll see you on the other end. Thank you. Yes, viewers, you are tuned back to our program, Monday Update program, Between the Lines. Between the Lines, guys, there's something that has never happened before in Edo State, Nigeria. Edo State, Nigeria is the south of Nigeria. And we saw mass protests, people on the streets, priests, palace chiefs, storming out of the street to protest against the monarch, the Benin monarch. And we all know that the Benin monarch is one very prestigious, yes, very powerful. It's been on for years now, decades now. I don't know who amongst you is following up that story. Now, the story is that about 100 priests and the palace chiefs stormed the high court, and they were chanting, they were singing, and they were all in one accord because two of the chiefs were suspended from the palace. Two of the chiefs. Now the story is that, but I think it has some political undertone. You know, our story is always having some political undertone. But the two suspended chiefs, their names are really hard to pronounce. But they are challenging their suspension, and they are taking the palace to the court. And guess what happened at the court last time? The judge raised up his hand and said, "Oh, this one is bigger than me." So, and he just adjourned it to some other time because he probably doesn't want to get, when you're sleeping at night, something come and choke you. Judge, tell us, what are you seeing from you have a lot of Benin friends and Do friends. What are they telling you of what's happening at Do? Oba Tokwe,
he say, that's my people. Yeah, what is happening actually is that the man would have said that this is more than me, because actually it's a traditional type of situation whereby the legal system might not be so in-depth into the culture and the tradition to determine whether the Oba was right. Because don't forget that most of these monarchies, they have superior power when it comes to the culture. So now, if they're challenging, the Oba, this is the first time I'm hearing this. Maybe it's happened in the past before. I've never heard the chiefs and the priests coming out openly and legally to challenge the traditional ruler like that. So I'm not quite sure, how the case is going to end, because the legal system might not have enough traditional knowledge about what the powers of the Oba is and what the limits of it is when it comes to telling what some of the chiefs that they need to go to vacate their offices. So I don't know. I'm not sure. Since I'm not from Edo State, I'm not quite well versed in their own tradition too.
Okay. Yes. Reggie, go ahead.
Now, the two chiefs were suspended when they came to Ife to assert that indeed Benin came out of Ife. There have been this controversy about which one is superior. Is it Ife or Benin? And according to Yoruba history, the first Oba of Benin, Oramiyan, was a loan from Oduduwa to the Benin, because they couldn't govern themselves. They needed somebody who could govern them. And the House of Oduduwa loaned them Oramiyan. When Oramiyan had finished with his Kenya, he saw them to be too hard-headed. He gave them his son as the new Oba, and then he went up further on to go and continue with his sojourn in Oyo. So there have been that controversy, and it has been on for some time. Now, these two chiefs went to the Oni of Ife to confirm that indeed the Oni is superior to the Oba of Benin. And when they came back, they were suspended, and then they are challenging their suspension in court. And just like Sir George said, this is not a matter for the court; it's a matter for the traditional system.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the Oba, the judge who threw up his hands that, hey, leave me alone, this is beyond me, knew exactly what he was doing.
Wow. Iyema, how will you feel if you were told to come into this case and settle it? How will you do this? I mean, hey, come, young lady, look, two Obas are fighting, two kings. What will your response be? I know that's a tricky question.
Quite tricky, yes. And I don't think it is fair to put Iyema on the spot like that.
No, because she's a smart girl. Iyema, we can't hear you. Anyway, Godwin, this is what we're seeing in Edo, and it's something very unusual. So it took a lot. It's taking a lot of attention. People are, what's happening? How do you take the palace to court and all that? So what's your take on that, Godwin?
There's from time immemorial, whenever you have a monarchy that has lasted up to 21st century, there's always a balance of power between the monarchy and the political representation of the government. In some cases, the religious or traditional leader is higher in power or authority than the political appointees or elected officials. In some other cases, the other way around. If we take, for example, UK, while the monarch is just a figurehead, the prime minister is more powerful in terms of what he can do. But if we go to Iran, if we go to Nigeria, for example, the state government is more powerful in terms of what he can do and muster. If you go to Iran, it's the other way around. The supreme leader of the Iran IRGC, however you call it, is much more powerful than the president or prime minister. So there's always this interplay between traditional and political appointees. But I think it's the fact that it has come to the court case. It's ridiculous for a judge to actually say that the case is beyond him. He can recuse himself from the case. He obviously has that right, but it seems, I mean, to anybody outside the country or any civilized nation, that a judge cannot handle a case. I mean, some people will see it as an opportunity to promote their career, for example. Some people will see it as judges will see it as an opportunity.
Yes.
Sorry, Godwin. Sorry, Godwin. Godwin, I don't think you understand the historical importance of what is happening. And I just gave you the historical, the genesis of the whole problem. Yes. This is not a government appointee or government king. No, this is entirely traditional.
Okay,
entirely traditional. Now, what is happening is that the two chiefs who were suspended had gone against the history as reported by the Oba of Benin. Now, their suspension is now not easily acceptable by the other chiefs. Yes. Now, this kind of case.
What I had, Raji, is a little bit it differs from your view, but maybe it adds up. The story is that two regions in Edo State are not getting enough representation in governance. So these two chiefs that came up, that stood up, are coming from those two regions, and they said there should be more representation of their constituents.
Okay. Now I get you. I get your point.
Yes. So somehow also it's a little bit political, like I said earlier, because it has to do with Obaseki. The governor, Godwin Obaseki, and some other people. So anyway, since you guys don't really have that story, maybe we'll come on Wednesday.
No. I just got it now. It's all because of the number of local governments. There are three territorial districts. Now,
that's it. Okay, let's not go into it again because you've done that bit. Thank you. More little stories to go on with. Viewers, thank you, Godwin. Thank you, George. Let's come to something that might interest Yema. We want to hear her talk. Our girl, we're coming to sports now, and we have our girl. You all know her. That's Amusun. Yes, she set a new world record, 100 hurdles in Jamaica. There's a competition going on now, Jamaican Athletes Invitational 2024, right in Kingston, Jamaica. And our girl pulled up very well. So, guys, do you... So that's Toby Amosu pulling out. Well, good performance.
I'm sure
George, I saw your reaction. Let's hear from George first. Then,
For her to do this, for her to do this in the island of Jamaica, she is a superstar, a world star for that matter. This girl is amazing. You know, when it comes to running, you know, short distance and fast, Jamaica is number one. When it comes to long distance, you bring Kenya, you bring Uganda, those people in those areas. But this lady to go to Jamaica and win a hurdle, and my heart, you know, respect to her. Beautiful.
Respect
You made us proud.
Nice.
Yes.
Yes. Iyema, let's hear you. When you see this, because you know why I'm bringing you on this, being Nigerian, this was your initiative. I mean, this the things you say. You're being Nigerian. Tell us, how do you feel? Oh dear, we are having audio problem there. Okay, Godwin.
Iyema, we can't hear you. Could you check your microphone?
Microphone.
We have not been hearing you for.
Or maybe it's muted. She's muted.
Yes. Okay, Godwin, go ahead. Godwin, say something before she gets it.
She's Toby Amuso is she's a beacon of hope. She's a paragon of excellence. She's amazing. I've celebrated her countless times on all my social media pages, all our organizations. We talk about her. She really is very motivational, a figure to look up to, inspirational for so many people, especially for women who believe that they have limitations in what they can achieve or in the society. You know, it shows that you can, no matter who you are, where you are, what gender you are, you definitely can achieve the greatest heights. And I'm proud of her. And for her to do this in Jamaica is double. It's wonderful. Exactly. I congratulate and celebrate her.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
And I'm sure there's a lot of envy now. And I'm sure very soon she's going to be tested for some substance or the other.
They've tried that before now. They tried that. You remember they tried her? Because she didn't show up for the test that they just abruptly given to her and she was moving. So she still was able to scale through it, got that storm and got on top like an eaglet she is. So we are very proud of her, man. We're very proud of her.
Okay, guys, let's come to business. Let's talk business, small business talk before we go. Okay, yes, Iyema, you're on. Can you hear us? Let's hear you.
I can hear you, but can you hear me?
Well, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
That's good. So what was the question, please?
Yes, it's our girl, Amusu, Toby Amusu, with the wonderful
Amusan.
Definitely. I don't know if you heard the part I said that, of course, that's the spirit of Nigeria. Did you hear that part? And I also said I congratulate her and I'm very proud of her. I like the fact that I like that. I mean, going to a country like Georgia.
Muted again.
Muted again.
Okay. Anyway, it's okay. We understand how this technology network and all these things play out sometime. Guys, let's round up with a story that is also on the burner. It's business. Nigeria now has lithium. Do you guys know? Yes, I know you all know. We have lithium in Nasarawa State, and that's a powerful mineral. That's a powerful mineral to have.
Mineral.
Sorry, let me put background noise, reduce it. I hope you all can hear me. Yes. So we have that. But what is more important now is what the engagement we're having with investors that are coming to process the factory in Nasarawa. Our president was telling them they should really consider a lot of things. There has to be environmental protection. There has to be community engagement, involve more of the community people to work in that place. So let's talk business. Let's talk about lithium. Nigeria now has this very
I think we're having some technical difficulties here.
Can you hear me, George? We
can hear you.
Okay, yes, let's hear you.
I can hear you.
I can hear.
Right.
No, okay. I agree with the business proposal that is being put forward concerning the lithium deposits in Nasarawa. Yes. So it means then that those deposits cannot be assessed until certain things are put in place, like electricity, which is very, very key, the water supply and all those things. Yes, I agree. And then that the environment should not be in any way devastated by the taking out extraction of all those minerals, because the extraction is very, very dangerous. They use a lot of dangerous chemicals to do the
To do
extraction.
that. Okay.
Yes.
So Fiona,
Yes.
I remember you were saying something earlier on this. When we discovered these minerals, very special, this high grade, these are things that resources that the world is looking for, and we have them, but it doesn't make any input into the good life of the citizen. What's your view on that, Fiona?
I mean, I think first of all, the important thing to say is that lithium is not as popular as it was before. So I mean,
Are you there? Can you guys hear me? Is it me or is it the system having an issue? Because it's breaking.
It's you.
Yeah,
for some reason.
Yeah,
The network breaking.
Yeah, it's from your end.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yes.
But don't worry. Go ahead, Fiona.
So it's not. I mean, the price that lithium was per ton, 2022 compared to this year, the percentage drop is spectacular. It's more than 60-70% drop. So that's the first thing that we need to be aware of. So before we get too excited about that, we need to be aware that all is not business as usual, because when it comes to things like fossil fuels, etc., the world is trying to shy away from all those things. As important as lithium is, we have to be mindful of that. Point two really is that our antecedent has gone to show that that we're going to talk about all these things theoretically, and then in practice, what is going to happen is that there will be damage to the environment. Even the amount of water that it takes to extract 1 ton of the stuff is the amount of, so it's going to have an impact. And we're talking about a state that has a minimum, I think 20%, the minimum amount of rainfall every year. So in terms of the amount of water that's going to be used to mine this lithium, it's going to have a knock-on effect one way or another in the community. Thirdly and finally, our antecedent and our history has not shown that we're very good at following the proper protocols when it comes to extracting anything that occurs naturally in our, I think we can just go to River State and look at what's happened in the waters there. So I mean, that's one thing. Then the fourth thing is that I hope we're not going to have a case where we're going to have 5 people that are going to sit on all the lithium deposits, and it's going to make absolutely no difference to either the community, the state as a whole, and Nigeria really at large. So, so those are the things that really concern me when things like this happen, that really, is this really going to be a positive net, or are we going to be seeing the sort of scenes that we see every day? I think Ms. Benson talked about this last week or so about, the state of Rivers, and I actually sent you a video as well. So the thing is that all well and good, but, do we need to get too excited about it? I don't really think so.
All well and good, but we don't need to get too excited about it. Godwin, what do you have on this? What's important discovery, but how it goes in Africa. How we things.
Yeah, in Africa, we tend to suffer from the blessing and the curse of raw materials. It's good to have them, but at the same time, it's good to. It's important to be able to add value to them before you export them. Otherwise, you end up importing goods that are made from this raw material at more expensive rate, and you lose your sovereignty and independence. So I think that the government should do more than production or getting it from the ground, but they should also try and fix and direct the production of the factory to the production of the industry towards industries that add value and produce. For example, which sector? We can talk about the electric car sector. We can talk about batteries. We can talk about places where high, not long capacity, not long duration of battery life, but where high capacity and swift capacity is needed. Lithium ion as an electrode plays a very good role. So we can look into how we can into electric batteries and components as not only is a source of renewable energy, but as also a source of export, which you can export to other countries that are not as blessed as we are.
Wow, that's good. Okay, viewers watching, that's how it looks like in the raw state.
Let me just say something.
Okay, go ahead, George. Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
You know, have you ever heard a woman was once asked, to describe her and the husband and the properties, and the woman said, "My property is my property, but his property is our property." This is exactly the same way Nigeria has been operating. Anything you find in the south belongs to the whole federation. But if you discover them in the north, they tend to keep it to themselves, not publicize it so much. There are so many minerals and so many mining places. There are things that are being mined illegally and legally, but it does not come into the coffers or the revenue of the nation. And most of them are from the north. If you have noticed that, I don't know if you guys have noticed it. So the point is, lithium is what Niger Republic used to put, send to France. Wasn't it the same substance that France actually used to? No, they have lithium there too.
They have lithium there too.
Yeah, they do. They do. So what I'm saying is this: what by Dr. Godwin is saying is, these are facts that we need to understand. Number one is, first and foremost, not to just go and jump and say, okay, we have this. Let's discover exactly what India is doing. If I have something, if you want what I have, if you want to produce something with it, come to my country, build a factory there, we will supply you, you produce it, you give us a job, you pay our taxes and revenue, and you can ship it from our country. That's what most of these other nations are doing. India refuses today, Indian refuses to allow Elon Musk to ship cars to their country. The deal is, come to my country, build your factory there, assemble the vehicle there, meet up with all the requirements, give us jobs, and then we'll allow you. So Nigeria needs to come to that place, because many nations, lithium is the only mineral that they have, and they are able to sustain their economy with only that lithium. So we need to be very careful how we manage these things. But I'm thankful that
the power of engagement.
I'm thankful that the man in power right now, Jagaban, will not allow those things to happen anymore, because maybe he'll be the one to represent the South effectively and efficiently.
Powerful. Thank you, George. That's the power of engagement. We need to have real good engagement when investors come into our country. Sit them down and make them know that the game is changing. Thank you, guys. Nyama, we still didn't hear you. We really wanted to hear your voice. There's something wrong with that audio there. But anyway, guys, it's been beautiful having you all. George, in his line of duty, made our time to still hang out with us. Raji, taking out time. Godwin, giving us good update from Russia. And Nyema, we didn't hear the voice, but we saw her face and we're happy she's with us. Fiona, our diva in London, thank you all for coming. Listen, this is beautiful. What you guys are doing. Nobody's doing this. No Nigerian is doing this. I can tell you, I'm on the radar out there. You guys are putting out knowledge, opening eyes, making people understand things, giving updates, resourceful information. God bless you all. So till we come again on Wednesday, let's go out. Happy May 13th and 14th. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Have a good evening.
Have a good evening.
All right, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.